What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color playing as Zeus. His name is Ulysses. His opponent today in the red color playing as Odin. His name is Momo. Ooh, it's game number 4, ladies and gentlemen. It's 3-0 for Momo in this best of 7 series. That means that Ulysses has to complete a reverse sweep here to beat Momo, because Momo has won every single game thus far in this series, and he just needs one more win to go on to become a participant in the finals of the first ever competitive Mega Random tournament. So let's see what he's going to come up with in this game and if it's going to work out for him or not. As we're seeing the Catoscopots scouting around right now for Ulysses, he's going to be on full alert in this series. Now it's a small map. You can see that by taking a quick look at the mini map. You can see the white strips down the sides of the map. This is something that happens on Anatolia, for example, a very small map where not only is it small, but it also gets water cutting it even thinner, so there's even less room to move around, less space on the map. But this one definitely a relatively thin map here. So we'll see if that's something that Ulysses is going to take to his advantage, because he does have Zeus. Zeus is the immobile, destructive force, whereas Odin is the mobile destructive force. So whether or not Momo can take advantage of his mobility in this game will remain to be seen. Have not seen Momo play Odin ever. So I've got no idea what level he's at. He's obviously had some time to practice for this tournament. Knows that if he's going to be coming into the semifinals and the finals, that he will need to play a handful of extra gods, 2 extra gods than just the Greeks. So he's obviously prepared his Odin, potentially expecting to have to fight against an Uranus, and a lot of players do believe that Odin has got an advantage against Uranus. So potentially Momo trying to counterpick there, though who knows what's going to happen here. I'm interested to see what Ulysses' style is going to be here. So throughout the past, Zeus has gone through a whole bunch of different phases of really enjoying the hoplite centaur strategy, enjoying Athena rushing, enjoying 2-town center shenanigans. So he does kind of do it all, depending on whatever he deems to be the best way to play based on the map that he's spawning in on and the god that he's playing against. So in recent times, the Zeus players have started to trend a little bit away from the centaur hoplite strategy that's been popularized, and more going into more Athena shenanigans, whether the Athena idea is to go for a second gold mine, put a little bit of pressure on, pull back, and then hit the second gold mine, or try and win with like an underworld lightning storm kind of combo with like a 1-town center semi-fast mythic style strategy, or just go completely for the jugular based on what the map layout is like. So we see the temple getting dropped by Momo. He's got a bunch of cows in his base. He's left a handful of deer at the back of his base. There's really not that much hunt on this map. There's 2 hunt spawns outside of the map. It's outside of the base, it would seem, and then your obvious base spawn as well. So kind of reminiscent a little bit of, like, say, a Ghost Lake kind of spawn sort of thing. Plenty of cows, plenty of a decent amount of food, and we've got maybe one more villager coming out for Ulysses before he advances. Interested to see if he does decide to build an early Jason here, or just advances. I pretty much don't go for the early Jason. I think that it's not as good as people think, but that's just because I think people get more success than they should with said Jason. But we are seeing what looks to me, he's going through Hermes, but what looks to me to be a much more centaur-focused build here than Hoplite, because we've got ourselves only 5 villagers. It's about to be 6 villagers on food, but how many villagers on wood does Ulysses have? He's got himself 9 villagers on wood right now, with only 2 villagers on the favor. So it's obviously going to be a very fast Odysseus coming out and Jason and the centaur. So we'll see how Momo is going to be able to react to this, as Freya on the way, Hersa coming through. Do you see a relic over here, the Wedget? I definitely want to be not allowing this relic to be getting grabbed, because this one's going to allow the centaur strategy to get that little bit stronger in this game. We've also got the Pelt of Argus over here, plus 6 unit line of sight. Pretty good, actually, for both players to grab this one, because the 6-unit line of sight for the raiding cavalry, for example, make them not really need to be running around with a Valkyrie as much anymore. And then obviously the 6 line of sight on, say, a centaur just means he's going to be able to have a little bit more alert if he's moving in to an enemy Herser or something, so they can be a lot more safe in the game. As the map hacking Raven flying through for Momo to scout out this map a little bit. We see the Valkyrie popping out. The first thing you want to do with this Valkyrie is try and get a couple of hits onto the centaur, but I imagine this is going to get immediately bolted as Ulysses pulls his centaur, bolts that one down, no damage taken. No love lost, as Sylvan Law coming through for Ulysses, as well as the villagers will have to retreat away. There's no food remaining over here, though, so these villagers should just simply pull back, jump onto the deer, and be completely fine here, as we're starting to see some walls getting dropped by Momo. Momo's got himself 3 longhouse, or one longhouse coming up, 2 longhouse right now, and Herso getting built as the Sylvan Law coming through. I don't think that Momo realizes that he probably can't get onto this food in the early stages of the game against this centaur strat, as the villager is getting taken down very, very fast. The Hersa still chasing that centaur away. The villagers jumping onto these deer as best as they possibly can. The raiding cavalry going to be trying to take down the Jason here as the ox cart is getting destroyed. This is not ideal for Momo at all, as Ulysses has now got his heroes dealing, well, he should have his heroes dealing with the Herser, as the centaur can try and take down the raiding cavalry, but the army is coming out very fast for Momo. Problem for Momo is he's got a little bit too much wood in the bank, though. Maybe he wants to get himself early watchtowers here, as the Odysseus getting taken down. The centaur micro is very, very good here by Ulysses, as it looks like Momo will actually have to retreat back here. Might finish off this deer first, probably a little bit overzealous as the hoplites are streaming in, and this is the classic hoplite centaur strategy that we were talking about, that's seemingly working, an absolute treat here for Ulysses, as his centaur can deal with those raiding cavalry beautifully, and the hoplite deal with everything on the field very well as well. But now we're starting to see some throwing axemen coming out. The hero's still alive for Ulysses. We do see a nice forest fire here, forcing the units back, but Ulysses is unrelenting right now. He's not allowing Momo much room to breathe at all, as the army retreats back. The ox cart here needs to get pulled as well. The villager's going to be coming over onto these deer that Momo has left here for himself, as the throwing axemen are going to get sniped from afar here. Nice micro there from Ulysses. Momo's 55 population. Ulysses is 55 population, but you do have to remember that 55 population is a lot stronger for Ulysses, because he's got those centaur that cost a lot more resources than their population is necessarily worth. What, they're like 3 population, right? Yeah, 3 population, 200 resources, kind of more like 320 resources. So if you compare them to a hoplite, which is only 90 resources, and that's 2 population, you kind of have you kind of get an idea of how much better a centaur is population wise than its cost says it is. As Momo now coming over here with his Ursa to deny those centaur coming in. Ulysses reacts nicely there, pulls back. This sentry tower will probably be falling, as the dwarves on the food in the main base here. A little bit scary, as we're going to see one getting picked off there, as the centaur does do a cheeky moonwalk in there. It's a little bit funny when you see that, but it's just the coding there. I'm not exactly sure why that happens, but it's pretty funny nonetheless. Old games, it's how things work. As more units here getting picked off, as Ulysses is making absolute light work here of the Odin army. Houses getting taken down. Jason does fall here, but the Odysseus is slowly chipping away at units from afar. He does have 18 range here, so he gets a whole bunch of damage done, as we do see the centaur trying to push in and take down the throwing axemen over here. The hoplites need to be fighting in this army, as Momo is trying to push in. Those Hersa need to push around and start taking down those centaur. Nice micro from Ulysses. Takes 1 hit, pulls back the correct unit there. Takes 2 hits, pull back yet again. That Hersa is getting taken down very, very fast over here. These centaur are going to be retreating back, as well as a Hersa is there to get the big damage done. But right now, Ulysses' micro is seemingly too good for Momo, as Momo pulls back into his base yet again. He's got plenty of resources here. Funnily enough, I don't know why we're seeing raiding cavalry. I just build throwing axemen Hersa here would be a lot better, and then you can just keep the throwing axemen in the town center and let those Hersa pop out and deny the centaur from running around. We are seeing a handful of centaur getting taken down now by Momo, though, as he's having a little bit of success, as Ulysses concentration does lapse just a little bit here, as another throwing axeman or two will get taken out. They're all very low HP. We see the Herso popping out over here. There's Centaur going to be retreating away. We do see a little bit of damage getting done there by that Herso, but the Centaur lives with 20 HP, and Momo is in a very, very difficult position right now. He's got this gold mine over here, but it's completely exposed. And Ulysses is 20 population in front right now, as now the Toxotes are starting to get added into the army for Ulysses, as he's able to continue the pressure. 75 population right now for Ulysses to 58 for Momo, as Momo's army is consistently getting taken down. We're seeing another longhouse getting dropped now by Momo, as he wants more production in this game. But now the dwarves getting taken down on this gold mine here. They're not going to be able to gather gold anymore. Momo's got 31 gold remaining here, as the throwing axeman retreating back. And it looks to me as if Ulysses is a little bit too far in front for Momo. The Herso are going to be attempting to push through and taking down these Centaur. If Momo can pick off this Centaur, he might be able to continue in this game with the Dwarves on this gold mine. We'll see how he's going to go, but he's not making a big effort to push those Herso through onto the Centaur. I don't even think you need really to get every Centaur. Maybe the best way to micro this for Odin is if there's 4 Centaur and you have 4 Herso, just to put 1 Herso on each of the Centaur. But this low HP Centaur will go down to a Dwarf here, but the Dwarf's getting picked off very, very fast. 63 population to 48 population. Ulysses still with an advantage here, and Momo does decide to tap out. The unrelenting pressure here from Ulysses. Hoplite Centaur strategy just a little bit too strong for the early game of Momo. Momo couldn't get all of his deer eaten over here, and honestly, the post game is going to tell the story. 45 military units killed to 24 military units killed. I mean, if you look at the resource total, Momo's going to have such an advantage here because he's Odin. He has that hunt bonus, but it's just not enough to really deal with the hoplite Centaur strategy unless you go Herso throwing axeman. Herso throwing axeman works against the hoplite Centaur strategy simply on the fact that you don't really need to fight the army at all. You don't want to fight. You just want to sit in your base and kind of allow the Centaur to, well, restrict the Centaur movement as best you can with the walls. But get to the heroic age and get yourself a Frost and Frost Giants to continue. But Momo didn't do that. Momo gets pretty much crushed in this game, and Ulysses happy to get 1 win on the board. We'll see if Momo's got some other gods he wants to try to take out Ulysses, but Zeus is down right now, so Odin, the amount of gods that are really, really strong against Odin start reducing. So we'll see if Momo's going to continue to stick with Odin or what, and if Ulysses is going to try something different here in game number 5. If you guys enjoying these games, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.